to another episode of Conversations with Ed. As you can see, as we've done in the past, this one is going to be a little bit different than the regular call-in talk show. What we're doing, haven't done it in a couple of years. I know you folks missed me, correct? But here I am, and this is the first of 6 shows, and we're going to put this thing in rotation and get back to the level that we had got it to before. It's nice to be in the studio. See, we have the same technicians from a couple of years ago, so we know the production is going to be great. We're going to just kind of do a little hashing around tonight. Just welcome back in. I'm welcoming myself back in. Okay. Meanwhile, the phone number to call in is going to be 804-646-7172. Okay. Now, let's start talking. It's the last couple of years. It's been about 4 years since we've been on the air. Those of you who've watched us before know that this is a different location. We're actually in the Richmond Library now, in a room. And like I said, we have the same technicians working to have the gear all set up for us. We don't have as much room as we had before, but I think that being a little bit more intimate kind of works too. So, you know, if it's my first show, I have to have my very special guest on. And I'm going to get her to come up in a minute and introduce herself, reintroduce herself to you. But in the meantime, I'd like to say to the audience that is paying attention and looking now, give thanks. We just passed Easter. Easter was the celebration of the rising. We need to celebrate ourselves because a lot of us lost people. A lot of us lost our circumstances. I lost quite a bit personally, which we will get into during this conversation. But it's been a rough couple of years for everybody. But we're back, and we're pulling it all back together. Give thanks, put a smile on your face and a smile in your heart, and let's get things going. Is the beautiful Mrs. Coleman.
You make me feel good, baby.
Well, that's
yes,
the deal.
You do.
And this is Charlene.
Hi.
Mona from Tropical Beat, which we're going to have a discussion about that also. Say hi.
As you can tell, he lost his voice. He had COVID and was in a coma for over 3.5 months, I believe.
I was in the coma for 6 weeks. In the hospital, 3.5 months.
Okay. They told me he was going to die, so just get his papers ready. I told them, oh, no, we're not speaking death around my husband. We're speaking life. Well, they said, it's going to take a miracle for him to live. I said, guess what? I believe in miracles.
Yes, she did.
And after he woke up, started being himself, asking questions and everything, they could not believe that this man was really alive. But being Special Forces, my dear Special Forces husband, thought he was captured. So when I took him there, and it took about 3 people to subdue you, and then he kept beating them up. He thought he was captured. And they called me and asked me, did I want him intubated? I said, well, is that going to keep him alive? Yes, Miss Coleman, maybe. I said, well, that's what you have to do. So they put the tubes all down in him. They sedated him, they thought. Put the tubes all down in him, and as they put him down, he was pulling them out. And then he started attacking the doctors and the technicians, and they wanted to know, who is this man? So I had to explain that he thought he was captured. He was Special Forces and Green Beret, and they worked with him, but he was so weak, and he had death in his eyes. He really did, and I bawled all the way home, and I told God, I got real religious now. I said, God, you let this man live, and I will write a book and let people know that miracles do exist. And that's what I did, and that's the book, Surviving COVID. It's sad, and it's funny, and it's uplifting, but it's true, and it's very inspirational. And if you have anybody or yourself going through anything, it doesn't have to be sickness. It could be a business problem. It could be any kind of problem. But you know you have to ask for a miracle. Ask for the miracle and expect it. Have the faith to know that it can come true. And it will. I promise you that. Now, we're not one of these really, I'm not going to say what kind of religion we practice, but we practice good religion. And I do believe in God. And I believe in a higher power. So whatever your faith is, you put it to practice and watch your business come alive. Or, today my knee was hurting, and I said, wait a minute, I need a miracle so I can walk here, because I could hardly walk. And I'm here, I walked. So that's what we have to get it going. That being said, Ed, I'm going to turn it back to you.
You notice that I don't ever have to feel lonely. She's a talker, but she's good. And if some of you might recognize her as Mona from Tropical Beat. Tropical Beat TV Productions, which she started back in the 90s, and which is how we actually met. And we went on our very first event. I asked her if she would take a camera crew to Benin, West Africa, to do a video for the African Travel Association, and how much would she charge me. And she said, if you get our plane tickets and our hotels, there is no charge. There is no charge. So we went, and people that saw that show, which we will probably be airing on here on one of these nights or something when we run in Tropical Beach.
Oh, yeah, it was in Benin. It was so good. They played, that's where they did Wakanda?
Woman King.
Woman King. And that's a true story, because the women won that battle.
Yeah,
yes, they did.
Not just one, it was an army. And they did a whole thing for us to see it. And it was really phenomenal, especially for a first time going to the continent, going home. And it did feel like going home. That's how they welcomed us. But at any rate, I got to say hi to my veterans out there, and you guys who are going through your physical and mental circumstances. Please go to the VA. The VA has changed its name. It got rid of that McGuire. For those of you who don't know, McGuire was not the name to have on the U.S. Veterans Hospital. That's a whole another story, an ugly story at that, which we might get into on one of these shows. But the service out there has gone, I mean, it's fantastic. And like she just said, they saved my life. I was literally in there for 3.5 months when COVID very first came out. And you can see my voice is a little shot, and you notice I'm dealing with the oxygen because it does attack your lungs. And I started out on 6 liters of oxygen, 24 hours a day. Now I'm down to 3 while I'm doing activity, and 2 liters when I'm at rest. The goal is for me to get off of it permanently, but it's going to take a little while. The book that she's talking about has very, very good positive information in it, not just for when you have COVID, for when you're going through the recovery. There is a long recovery period for this COVID.
He's in it.
Well, I'm stronger than most people. Okay?
Yes, he is.
Because I've had so many medical emergencies, from getting blown off the side of a mountain, falling about 60 feet, and then having a Jeep fall on top of me and pronounced dead, strapped on the outside of a chopper, flown in, hear my top sergeant say, "Oh, shit," excuse me for saying it, Coleman got himself killed, and I'm listening to this, and I said, well, damn, if I'm dead, what's next? And on like that. I could sit here for this whole hour and tell you about some medical adventures. But as Charlene says, there is a God. And if you believe in him and believe in yourself and believe in that inner strength that's there, you'll find it too. Now, a lot of things going on. I don't know how many people are watching. Once again, I'm going to tell you the phone number, 804-646-7172. You call in, first night on. I know there's a lot of things that need to be talked about, but I want to talk about what you want to hear. One of the main things that needs to be discussed is this business of gun violence and what's going on politically in the United States. Okay? So, waiting for that phone to ring.
Well, don't wait. So we got to keep talking, because I really didn't have a phone number to send anybody until a few minutes ago. So if you see me reaching for the phone, that's because a few people were calling to get the number. So maybe they'll call, but I don't know. But it doesn't matter. If you're listening, that's a good thing. That's enough. One is better than none, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But it's just like history is kind of inventing itself. What you got we're going backwards and forward at the same time. And there's a struggle going on right here in the United States that is actually worldwide. If you look at all of the other countries, Israel is going through some crazy things. The Ukraine is going through crazy things. France is having riots
Turkey.
all over the place. The Arab countries, it's like there's a drumbeat out there. Let's go crazy. Let's go crazy. And it seems like it's going all over the world. But let's see what we can do to keep it out of Richmond. How about that?
Well, it might be too late.
No,
It's here,
no,
but we can push it back now. Richmond has always been good. We've had the first black governor. We've had good mayors. We've had good the first General Assembly people,
And this last election.
first children's magazine to come out for all kids, Popcorn Magazine,
Yeah,
over
she did
30
it.
some years ago.
And we've had this past elections with our two senators, one for Congress and one
Oh yeah, Jennifer McEllen,
And-
she did really good.
and Mr. Bagby for right here. And the mayor is doing some good things. There's some good development getting ready to take place in Richmond. And I think that we can all kind of relax a little bit, all right? And just take a deep breath. And if you see somebody that's a little off key, talk to them, pump them up. Get your neighbor on the good foot.
As long as they don't have a gun in the hand.
Well, that's
That's another story.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah, we've got to be kinder to each other. Sometimes you just smile and say, have a nice day. It means so much to somebody who hasn't had anybody to speak to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the kids, they've been home for 2.5 years and everything's not right. No school. They're a little off. The parents are off. Everybody's gained weight that they're trying to get rid of, and it's very, very hard. And COVID's still around. Don't fool yourself. I've got my mask right there, and I put it on when I go to the store. When I go out, I put my mask on, and I would advise other people to, because people are getting sick. I have family members that did not get COVID when it was rampant, and now they're having it. I don't know why, but they don't have it like my boo had it, so that's a good thing. You have a when he had it, there was no treatment, no medicine for it, no vaccination. They didn't know anything about it, and I was
Nobody knew what it
fortunate
was.
that some of my cousins were, and sisters who are doctors in D.C. were able to talk to the doctors at McGuire, and they came up with a treatment plan for Ed. And I had the doctors; they were so funny. I said, "Now you've got to play African music and Spanish music and reggae music for him." So they put an iPad in his. Now he's unconscious there, so they think I'm crazy. They know I'm crazy, but they put an iPad in his room, and I got an iPad at home, and the doctor. I insisted that the doctor go out and get some music, and he did.
He said, "I never heard of Tito Puente," and I went in the store and I'm asking, and they gave me this CD to put on, and we put it on, and you started playing drums on your chest, Mr. Coleman. You were playing on your chest.
Unconscious.
And one of the nurses went and got a plastic medicine container and put it on your chest, and you started playing on that. And we were like, "Oh man, this really works."
Yeah, and it did work. Music heals, and I have a niece who just got her PhD in music therapy, and I said, Adenike, is this going to work? And she said, yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we consulted everyone. Another niece that's a medical doctor. Is that a call coming in?
Call coming in here.
We're trying to figure out how to answer them.
No,
So,
it's coming in here.
oh, okay. He's going to answer one of the calls.
Is that Frank Abel calling me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Okay, that's the music man, Mr. Frank Abel. We're going to do a whole show in this 6 weeks period about Mr. Abel and what he's done musically over the last 30 years. The man is...
What an honor to be back to hear you back on the air, conversations with Ed. We missed you.
Oh, that's nice, Frank. I actually missed being here because I enjoy this. And next week...
Looking forward to it.
Next week when we start up, I'm going to have your theme song blasting out for us, okay?
All right, that sounds like a plan.
And Frank, you're on the air now. Anything you want to tell our listeners, our viewers?
Well, I look forward to visiting Richmond and doing conversations with Ed live and doing that real soon. So you guys pay attention because Frank Abel and friends are coming.
There you
All
go.
right, then.
We're looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Keep the music coming, okay?
All right. right, and congratulations on your comeback.
Thank
man.
you,
That's
thank you.
outstanding.
That's great. I appreciate you, brother. Okay.
All right.
We've got to tell you a little about Frank. Frank and I went to Howard University in 63, 67, and he was a violin major, but he stepped out when he joined the Qs. And I mean, he has written so many songs. Jay-Z and all those guys. He's the most sampled artist out there.
Of all of the music.
All
out
the
there.
music. I mean, he's getting paid for all that music that these rappers have
And the
sampled.
new thing that
Talk
G-
louder.
the new thing that is Master G that's doing
Master P.
Master P with auto theft, the game. The
That's his music. That's Frank's
Frank Abel's
music.
music. Yeah.
And he's been noted for having the best marching band. And Frank retired, but they came and got him. Oh, and another thing they did, they built a library in his honor, and it has a huge stage, and every
A
year
show theater.
a show theater, and they in Roosevelt
Roosevelt, Long Island.
Island, Long Island,
And it's a performance stage with sound, the lights, the whole bit. And the guys that started out the band when we started back in the 60s, who are stars back from those days, he's having them come out and perform like once a month. Like he's had the Delphonics, the Dells, the Qs, I mean just about anybody that you can name.
and years ago when they used to perform, and what's the name of that
the
club?
Cheetah.
The Cheetah. Luther Vandross would be there,
Yeah.
and what's the name? The Mays and some other artists
Our
who I
guitar
can't
playing
remember.
friend.
Huh?
Our guitar playing friend.
I don't know who that is. But anyway, who was that? We
I forgot. I don't believe I forgot.
well, that's what happens.
Yeah,
you know.
with the girls, come on, with that Turks and Caicos with them.
I don't know his name. Not Puerto. Anyway, it's nice to be back on the air.
Let's
So what
get this
else?
phone going.
They can't hear us yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so people don't know we're back on the air. They're probably not even tuning in. They're watching. They're getting ready to watch the news now. But I need to call my grandson and have him call in. He used to call in all the time. But what do you think about the people dying in the jail?
It's terrible.
It's terrible, isn't it?
I think I'm going to get past sheriff, Sheriff Woody, to come on and talk about what he's doing now. He's in another project, and he's got some really good thoughts going. He and I had a chance to work with some of the young people down there at the Richmond City Jail. I was a volunteer down there for a couple of years in education, and got a lot of guys to go and take their GEDs, and the scoring was higher than the curve of the marks from Richmond Public Schools. The
And
guys-
Frank Abel came down there and
Frank
performed.
came
Yeah,
and
it was
performed.
really nice.
Right,
One.
that was lit. That was lit. He didn't realize that there would be about 400 inmates
In
to
a room
come
with
in
him.
here and play. And he and I played. I'm a conga player. I play congas. That's what I was alluding to, telling you about the music, unconscious playing. But Frank had this set up with the piano and all the speakers and stuff, and we rocked. The jail was rocking. All of them, the guards, the security people, the inmates, every last one of them. And it was just a really good event.
But Ed did a really good job down there. More inmates received their GED while he was there than the city of Richmond.
And with the
He would
marching
go in
band,
there and say, now what are you going to do? Are you going to let the time do you, or are you going to do the time?
Are you doing the time for the state or for yourself?
So
If
they,
you're doing it for yourself, get up out of the bed and come on across the hall to the school cell block, and let's get this education going. And they came, and they did, and we'll be out shopping now, be in Walmart or Kroger's or wherever, and you hear, Mr. Coleman, Ma, that's him, that's the guy that got me. He went to court with me, that's him. And it makes me feel good to know that I was able to reach these young men and let them see the future that they could have. And I hope to do some of that on this run, on this show. It's like I said, it's the first night, so a lot of people don't even know we're on. But maybe those of you that are watching will take my cues that I used to give out, Call somebody, call your friends, tell them to get a piece of paper and a pen and sit down and let's listen to conversations with Ed. Okay?
Because he can talk now,
Oh, yeah.
even though he lost his voice.
It's
And
coming
that's why
back.
it's kind of hoarse. You drink some water. Maybe that'll help.
Come back.
I don't know.
But it's on the floor, yeah. But again, I had started to talk about the veterans, VA guys. The VA has really progressed. They're looking after disability now much better than they did years and years ago. The medical care is A1 level.
It is. It really
It's
is.
A1 level. And they're doing so many things to that hospital that it will amaze you. You know, that's the first hospital that did a heart transplant in the military medical circle when they first started doing heart
And
transplants.
they are partnered with VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University Medical School, which was MCV. And that's what else we have to have. We have to have Dr. Philip Duncan on.
Okay.
Because, especially black people, we have so many issues with our hearts. We're eating too much stuff. Fritos, potato chips, too much steak, too much, and French fries. I was reading last night, French fries are the absolute worst that you can eat. So you've got to cut them out. You don't need them. Bake the potato if you have to. Put some ketchup on a baked potato. But we have, if you want to live, I mean, if you want to live for today, only one day, then do all of that. But if you have, this is somebody else calling. Hold on, you're on speaker on television. Hi, Tondi.
Hey, what you guys doing?
Wait a minute, hold on, can you want to call 804-646-7172?
I will. I want to know what the topic is about today.
Wait a minute, hold on, I have you now. What'd you say?
What's that, Tandy?
What's the topic about today?
This is just a greeting. We're saying hello, reestablishing my territory and letting folks know that Conversations with Ed is back.
Hey, tell us about your new business. You and Pharrell.
Well, we have a small used car lot. We got your Autosport. We're here to service Richmond's needs. It doesn't matter, good credit, bad credit, whatever kind of credit, we can get you done. Come in, walk in, and drive out. How about that?
That sounds
All
like
right.
fun. And I understand.
And you can reach us at 804-442-2834.
Say that one more time.
804-442-2834. And we're guaranteed to beat the major dealerships by a couple of $1,000s.
Okay, now what kind of cars do you have?
We have all kinds of cars for every driver out there. And we also do private shopping for buyers. So if you're someone interested in a very high-end vehicle, I can beat the big dealership. So just give us a call. We're here to cater to your needs.
Well, you know what? I think it would be a good idea if you and Pharrell were to join me here on one of my shows and let the people see you and see what you're talking about, because I think you know that you're only one of two black women that has a dealership in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, it's a few of us now, but I'm just proud to be a part of that circle.
Well,
And
I was proud of you.
we would love to come in and show our face and talk to the people, so you can put us down for that.
Okay, are you looking at the TV now?
I'm actually not. I'm actually on the way to the YMCA to pick up Kyle.
Oh, okay. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to call us.
Yes, and also we got you Autosports. We can service your U-Haul needs. So for anyone moving, college students coming in and out, we got you. Has all your needs. Please give us a call again at 804-442-2834.
And Tondi, they can book one of those U-Hauls just on the computer. They don't even have to come in, do they?
Oh, absolutely. They can go through U-Haul and book their U-Haul, and we have a 24-hour box. Even when we're not there, our vehicles can be rented as far as the U-Hauls are concerned.
Outstanding.
That is good. That's very good. So how long has this new shop been in business?
We're just about 7 months old now. We're in Mechanicsville by the old windmill, the old Mechanicsville Turnpike 360.
Okay, then. Now, you've been an entrepreneur all your life.
I have.
You have. And you have, what words of encouragement do you have for young ladies?
Never give up. Never, ever give up.
Never ever give up. I think I might have taught you that too, huh?
You sure did. I mean, sometimes we have doers and we have people that just don't do. And sometimes you might have the best idea and people around you are telling you it's stupid, it's dumb. I say always, if you know something works, try your best, make it work. And if it doesn't, if you don't succeed, try again.
That's right. I believe that.
A lot of people don't succeed because they're scared to fail.
Right.
Failure sometimes is good.
And some people are afraid to succeed.
Yeah, you have to get back up on that horse and ride, honey.
Well, all right, Tanya. We do appreciate you calling in. Let
Yes, it's great talking to you.
Kyle.
And I'm so proud of you guys and keep doing what you're doing, servicing the community and letting people know what's going on out here.
All right, then let Kyle call in too. You know, he's been on the show a few years ago. Now he's 14 now. I think he was about 10 when he came on the last time. So that'll be fun. Let him call in if he has time. Okay.
Okay. You guys have a great night.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you so much. Conversations with Ann. We love you.
We love you too. Okay.
That's nice.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah.
Some other people can call too. If any of my friends have my phone number, I'm not giving my phone number on the air, but you can call. Feel free to call, okay? Now, let's see. Oh, I know what I have to tell you about. Some of you know Leroy Wilkins. He's a cameraman and a very good producer. And he and some other guys are putting together a documentary on Tropical Beat TV. I've been on the air many, many, many years, and we're putting together a documentary. We're going to shop it around to some of the larger stations who have expressed some kind of interest and see what happens. So we are going to put it back in Richmond, but we're going to put it all over the United States like it used to be. I have great footage of Jimmy Cliff. I have Rita Marley, all the Marleys, and I even have what's his name when he was little.
Ziggy?
I have Ziggy when Ziggy was little, but I also have some of his younger brothers, and they were little bitty things, and they were giving me drops on Tropical Beat trying to sing. They couldn't really sing that well then. But we have Sunsplash and Sunfest behind the scenes. It's a lot of good stuff we have. Plus, we have a lot on Africa, a whole bunch on Jamaica. And now that marijuana is legal, I can show you some of the big fields in Jamaica that we went to, but I couldn't show it then, back 20 years ago. I wasn't going to get myself or the artists in trouble. But they had some big fields with huge plants.
Yes,
they look like
indeed.
trees. When they said trees, they meant trees.
Yes,
So that'll be interesting. And in Jamaica, not Jamaica,
West Africa.
West Africa and South Africa.
South
Oh my gosh, woo! But anyway, that's another culture, and I'm not advocating that you
Yes,
smoke
you
it or no, I'm not, because I get my energy from within. I believe God is within us. We all have an inner spirit, and you can you can pull it out, and it gives you everything you need. You don't have to smoke, you don't have to drink. You just have to believe and have faith and start marching to your goals, and you'll be surprised the extra energy you'll get. Now, what you do afterwards when you want to calm down, that's your business. But I'm not advocating it. He says I am, but I'm not. And if you know me, you know I'm not. And so anyway, if you have anything good or bad to say about Tropical Beat has a Facebook page that I'm kind of halfway finished with, where you can go on my Facebook page, Charlene Warner Coleman, and drop a note. I have Super Cat and all the guys, the old ones and the new ones there. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Now, what's going on with you, Ed? What are your new projects? Tropical Beat?
Working with my lovely wife to make the best documentary that folks have seen, taking them all over the Caribbean world, Europe, and West Africa, and the celebration of all these different cultures that we've had the opportunity to bring to you. I mean, we're in Ghana, West Africa, and we meet the king of the Rastas.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
He had 6 women carrying his hair.
He did.
6 women were carrying his hair.
Big locks, and they were just going all over there.
And greeted us and commuted with us while Charlene was on the stage performing and they wanted her to sing.
They wanted me to sing. Can you believe it? And they were just playing, and they were singing in a different language. I didn't even know it, but they said, "No, you sing." So I said, "Well, who's watching it?" They said, "The whole of West Africa, millions of people." So I said, "Oh my gosh!" So you know what I did? I pretended I was Whitney Houston, and they gave me some nice beats, and I sang. I said, why not? You know, I figured nobody knew me over there. I didn't realize so many people were watching. And we'll show you. I've never aired that footage, but I'm going to find it.
That was good. That was a good night.
My son Tariq was there filming along with Jim Porter and some others, and they were cracking up because they had never heard me sing before.
She said, I love you.
Oh, yeah.
I love you. She did a good show. That
was funny.
We had some really good adventures in Africa.
And in Europe,
And
because
in Europe, yes.
I remember Tropical Beat was a big hit in London, and in another part of England where a lot of West Indians are. And my daughter Tandi, the same Tandi was over there with me, and we were in a Lord and Taylor, some big store, I forgot the name of it. And I said, Tandi, it's okay, you don't have to fix up, come on, we just got to go in there because we had a plane to catch and some stuff. We went in there, and the first thing I hear is, "Hi, Mona, we love your show." And I said, oh my God, not with me looking like this. But anyway, they said, well, you look just like you look on television. I said, yeah, I do, because I really don't wear that much makeup or anything, so what you see is what you get. And I think what made Tropical Beat such a hit was just my enthusiasm and my love for the music, because I love music. And music is what healed Ed. That had a large part in working with Ed, healing Ed. So I encourage all of you to get a hobby. They say music makes your brain go faster, especially for little kids. It helps develop their brain.
Very much so. Yeah.
So we had our grandkids over this weekend, and woo, they were something else. And they loved the piano. But they don't bang on it. They bang on everything else around the house, but not the piano. They very gently touch it and try to play. So
they have a sense of it.
They do have a sense.
It's like a natural. It's like inborn. And then the young one,
Zara.
And when she walks away like this, like she's thinking in her mind, what can she do with a piano? And I think it's beautiful.
It is. Yes, it is. And we have a new Ethiopian daughter, so a lot of you West Indians like Ethiopian food.
Mm-hmm.
And up in D.C., they have a food truck called Injera. Mm-hmm. Injera for you. And that food is slamming. Woo, it's so good. Yes, so we'll talk more about that as they get settled, as they start doing that again. Up in Maryland, D.C. area.
But now that folks know, you know that we're back on the air, and it'll be, I believe it's going to be every Monday night, isn't it?
I don't know. What's the night?
Today's Tuesday, but yesterday was the holiday.
I don't know.
Well, we'll post it. We'll find out exactly.
Look on my Facebook page, or on Ed's Facebook page, and we'll have it up there, and we will start promoting in there. I'll be honest, I just held back a little bit because I didn't know what we were coming to, and if anybody was going to be here. I thought they would because they're very professional, but you never know. So I didn't promote it probably as I should have.
Doesn't matter. People, word of mouth.
Word of mouth should get it. I think it comes on at 6:00, so we're not following anybody's show. Mm-hmm. But you know how to get the word out. You got it out before, and you can get it out again, and we appreciate that.
5 years.
And Tropical Beat's going to start airing on here, because what I'm going to do, because we had videos and live interviews, I'm just going to put some of my older shows on one. Take the ads out, because ads are not allowed here, and let them air overnight. Mm-hmm. So I just got to find the DVDs. I don't know where I put stuff.
I know where they are.
You know where they are?
I do.
Oh, see there, I'm hearing it for the first time.
Partners, huh? We're partners.
Yeah, that makes teamwork makes the dream work, right?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So
now I know somebody out there is looking at us. Give a call. Give us a question. Okay?
They're calling Ed's number or my number. But it's okay. You can still ask a question. We'll put you on speaker. The number for here is 804-646-7172. That's 804-646-7172. You can call and ask us just about anything you want, okay? some of the things we want to talk about encouraging kids to get off of these machines, the iPad and the phones and
That we have
the TV, that they're glued to it and we don't know what they're being programmed with. I want them to read. Anytime you have some of these Republicans trying to keep our kids from reading, that means reading is good. Okay, nobody has said let's get rid of the computers or the smartphones or anything.
Or the guns.
Or the guns, right. So we want them to read and to make up their own minds, and I want them to write. I remember I used to volunteer when my son Dia was in elementary school, and I taught creative writing. And all the kids said they could write it. They wrote beautiful stories, and they had great imaginations. But as they get older, people tell them what they cannot do. You can't do this, you can't do that. The period doesn't belong there, the comma doesn't belong there. And they lose all their enthusiasm for reading and writing. We've got to give that back to them. We've got to invest in our children while they're still young enough to pull on that energy to make up their own minds on what is right and what is wrong. I mean, we can tell them what's right and what's wrong, but we've got to show them as well. And the churches need to open up more. The schools need to open up after school time. The gyms, the wine, and the sororities and fraternities. I think they are starting to volunteer now, but the teenagers need to give back. So let's see what we can do. I do believe, I'm an optimist, and I believe it's not too late. We've just got to save our own. Each one teach one, each one save one. What do you think about that? You can address that issue next week, okay? Because time is running out, believe it or not. And what are some of the other things we want to talk about, Mr. who's on his phone all the time?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to answer.
He's answering questions on his phone instead of having them call in.
I'm passing on the phone number.
We can talk about guns. We can talk about school. We can talk about sports, because kids need to have some kind of sports, especially the boys and girls. So when they come home at night, they're ready to eat and sleep. We need to encourage. Teachers need more money. They need more pay. That's the hardest job. I taught for 1 year. Oh, that was a job. And I was not trained as a teacher. I was in SNCC and all kinds of activities at Howard University. So they recruited some of us to teach for a year. And it was fun, but it took every bit of energy I had. And I take my hats off to teachers. And let's see, what else can we do? What else you want to talk about, Ed, in your future shows?
Well, I would like to get some of the young men that we've experienced the change in to come on and act as advocates to talk, so maybe some of these other young men that are outside can see that you don't have to be out there. There is more than the block. There is more than the
guns,
bag.
yeah.
There is more than the gun. Okay? We've gone through this cycle. I mean, we came through the whole crack cycle. Prior to that, a lot of you younger men don't know about the 60s and 70s with the heroin, okay, and the gang warfare. So there's a lot that can be talked about and that can be done, because I found out that most of these guys want to hear something. They want to learn something. They want to know something. If somebody would take the time to spend it with them.
Oh, you know what else? I'm cutting across you as usual. Mm-hmm. Karate. We haven't done any of the. He used to teach it, but he still teaches it somewhat. Mm-hmm. What you call that kind of karate you teach?
Daiichi
Shotokan, right?
And we have very, very good dojo, very good instructors, senseis, and there's a whole group now that has coalesced in Richmond, involved in tournaments, involved in teaching young people.
And it's a mixture of men, black, white, Chinese, all of them together, and I think that's good.
The system is one of the original systems that was developed in Japan, but it also has the influence of some of the karate masters that came out of South America, Panama to be specific. In fact, the head of Daiichi is now the head of security for the president of Panama.
Oh, wow.
And the head instructor here are Kiyoshi, which is 7th degree black belt, is a former corrections officer who's retired now and develops most of his time to training young people. And the people that we've had, the kids that have come through, have all gone on to make something in their lives. And at karate, I started judo when I was 14 years old because I used to get beat up a lot. Okay, you know, back in those days, if you had straight hair, or if you were light skinned or skinny, and you spoke differently, because we came from Pennsylvania. We lived in the mountains in Pennsylvania. My sister and I were the only two black children. I didn't even see black people until relatives came from South Carolina or from New York. And many years were spent up there. And when we came down to New York to live, it was like a complete culture change. So the very first day of school in Roosevelt, Long Island, a young man said he wanted to copy my test. And me being from Dingman's Ferry, Pennsylvania, I said, no, you can't do that. That's cheating. He said, I'm going to copy your test. No, you can't copy. Well, I'm going to beat you up after school. I said, okay, because we used to fight every day after school up there. I was the only colored kid, right? But we didn't fight like they did in New York. So once we got outside and the guy threw his punch at me and hit me in my eye, one of the fellows who later became my daughter's godfather, that's how long we were friends, told me, you're not holding your hands right. And I said, well, how do you hold your hands? And he showed me, and I put my hands up, and the guy hit me in the same spot in my eye and split it open. So then when I went home, my mother got very upset. She wanted to go see the principal. My father was mad because you know you can fight better than that. You just don't want to hurt anybody. And then my uncle came out there who had just got out of the army and said, let me teach you how to fight. And he taught me that evening. And then my mother came in and she said, if that doesn't work, you find something to hit him in the head with. But at any rate, I went through that and I got beat up a couple of times and I got tired of it. And back in the 60s, there was a big rage because Bruce Lee was just coming out, karate was just coming out, and judo was just now becoming popular. And Jerome Mackey had a judo dojo in town in Hempstead. And I joined that at 14 years old. And I did it for 3 years until I joined the United States Army at 17 years old. And my dad had thrown me through the play class window and said there could only be one man in the house and I'm not going anywhere. So I went to the recruiter and I said, I want to join the toughest outfit that you have. And he said, are you serious? And I said, yes, I am. He said, the 101st Airborne. And I joined the 101st Airborne. But I also didn't realize that I had a brain that was very impressive for the folks that were in command of different places. And computers were just now starting to come out in a new form of coding called, I don't believe I have a block.
It's okay. They've got a new name for it now. But you know what I want you to talk about?
What's that?
I like how he said Ed was skinny, really skinny, and little probably at age 14. We have a granddaughter that's 15, Zoli. Zoli's small for her age, little bit, just as cute as a button. But she can kick some butt with that karate. She started taking it, and somebody, because kids would pick on her because she was small.
And pretty.
And beautiful.
Yeah.
She beat up one guy, a big guy, and then, not that we encouraging her to fight, but we just saying don't let anybody mess with you. So she was home by some Christmas time, and the kids were having a contest on push-ups. And Zoli said, well, I can do them. And tell them about Zoli and the push-ups.
She got down and she did perfect push-ups, 20 push-ups, no problem, got up, and the guys, her cousins, were looking at her like, oh man. And I said, do it again, Zoli. And she went down and she did 20 more.
I couldn't believe it. Little bitty thing.
And my stepson just sent a video yesterday of her being tested with her kicking, and she threw a roundhouse kick and broke the board. And I'm very impressed. And I would say any child should go through this kind of training because it lets them see what they are capable of. And I'll add, she's also an honor student.
Oh, yeah. They all are. They love school.
Every one of them is an honor student, and there's 10 of them. And the two daughters that are in college, the oldest two, both of them, one of them graduated already, and in her senior year, as being in the honor class, honor grade, and dean's list and all of that, she wrote a book called
Hood. You know what? I didn't even bring it here. Oh my gosh.
Hood Politics.
Hood Politics. There you go. It is phenomenal.
And Stacey Abrams read the book and called her up and hired her right in her senior year in college. And she came out, and for the last 4 or 5 years, she's been working with Stacey.
And she graduated early too. And she just doesn't do politics.
No.
She does music because she has groups that she manages, some rapping groups.
Yeah.
But she does good. I mean, she's very well spoken. She does dancing. She does this.
And when she was a little bitty thing, when we went to see her, she went and got a microphone. Like she had a microphone and she was interviewing people like Cha-Cha, they call it Cha-Cha. They were like Cha-Cha, she was interviewing people. And now she's manages most.
I don't know. She does a whole lot of different groups.
I mean, she is
and
so
travels
good.
all over the world.
And then the second one is in school now, in college, going for education. And she has moved into honor class, and she is receiving her honor certificate tomorrow.
A national honor certificate, and then she's got inducted into something. So she doesn't have to worry about paying.
The School of Education.
She wants to teach, and I think that's phenomenal. With all her brilliance, she could be a doctor, a lawyer, anything she wants. But a teacher is so important, and that's what she wants to do, and it's a gift. And I say, any kid, any college student that wants to teach, get involved in education in any kind of way, they should not have to pay any college fees. We should be bringing them in and giving them extra money to teach these knuckleheads. I'm not going to call them knuckleheads. Teach the kids, because they need somebody that wants to be there. I think when I was going to college many, many years ago, and I don't say this in a bad way, maybe I shouldn't say it at all, but the people that were teachers were the ones that couldn't do anything else. One of my professors used to say, those that can do. Those that can't do, teach. So a lot of our teachers were not really motivated to get the word out the way we were. When I grew up in segregated Richmond, those teachers told us, you're in this classroom and you're going to learn, and I'm going to teach you, and you're going to be 10 times better than any of the white kids, because we don't have the right books, we don't have everything, but you are just as brilliant, but you have to work harder to get it, and they did. And these teachers now, like Amaya, she wants to teach these kids, and she can talk to rap and talk to talk, and they will learn. And plus, she's pretty.
Well, you know, the other side of that is that back in the day, teachers went to school to teach. Then they had the draft came about, and Vietnam came about, and they said, we're starting up the draft, and everybody's getting drafted unless you have an occupational. Teaching was one of the occupations. If you were a teacher, you did not have to be concerned with getting drafted.
Well, those have been. I don't know anybody that did that, though. Did your friends do that?
No, most of my friends came in the military.
Well, I don't know anybody I don't know any men that stayed out of the military because they were going to be teachers.
Because of the circle you're in.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But if you check the records, you can see, and that's when the education standards started doing this, because they weren't there to really teach. They were there to keep from going in the military.
If they would, like, if you have a chemistry major, a math major, and you want to be a computer specialist or whatever, that's fine. But let the government or the school knock off maybe a year's tuition if you promise to put a year into teaching or 2 years into teaching.
They're doing that now.
That would be wonderful.
They're doing that
because
now.
the kids need to learn from somebody who enjoys what they're doing. If you're going to have a chemistry classroom, let a chemist teach you, because he can teach you the joy. You can feel it, the joy of learning, not because somebody teaching it because they failed and couldn't get into whatever program they wanted to get into.
The guys at the Richmond City Jail, when they started going to school, it was amazing to see the change, because you got to think, these guys are standing on street corners dealing. They're running corporations, standing on the street corner, keeping track of all of the guys they got running, doing their deals for them, keeping track of all of the goods that are going out and the money that's coming in, and so on. You give them an education and let them put that know-how to work in legit business, you have a whole different type of man. And that's what you see now. That's what's happening.
Well, Ed, we only have 7 minutes. The guys come in and they brought the notice saying 10 minutes. Now it's 7 minutes. So what are we going to tell these people?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I usually say, and it's been a while since we've had the privilege of sitting here and talking to you in your homes. But tune in next week. We'll be a little more organized. Okay.
We're not disorganized.
We'll be a little more organized. The Comcast is trying very hard to get this standard up. Okay, right now we're in the Richmond Library, and it's good.
It's better than it used to be.
Yes, and they have the new equipment in, and I can't tell how the broadcast is because I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at you folks looking at us. But but tell your friends and let people know, yeah, Ed is back. Ed is back. And we're going to have some good shows coming up.
Including Tropical Beat overnight. So if you're staying up at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or whatever, you'll see, I'm going to bring some DVDs down here. And you can see the Tropical Beat. Hey. And Ed's got all kinds of stuff going on, too. And we want to thank the technicians that helped us with this, because they haven't seen us for over 3 years. And look, he's shaking his head. And we're a little different than a lot of the other people they have here, because we don't stop talking. We just talk. They didn't even have to stay here. They just put the machine on and left the room. So I hope we didn't get bored with that one shot. I'm the one I'm saying at the cameraman there. But we do appreciate it. If you want to order one of my books, just come on Facebook.
She didn't say
Surviving COVID.
She's written 7 books, all of which are bestsellers. And it would be real
Mother's
nice
and Daughter's Cookbook.
to get one.
Welcome Home Veteran.
Yes, indeed.
I had the tissues underneath it, propping them up so you could see them. But we're not sick, and we're trying to stay well, and we encourage you to stay well, eat well, don't drink a lot, lemonade without the sugar, tea without the sugar. Sugar's not good for you. Sugar is bad for you. And diet drinks are worse for you, so don't use them. But more important,
those of you who have had or are with or around someone who has had COVID, recognize that the term long COVID is real. There is a recovery period that you have to go through. And, you start feeling good, you start going out, but there's emotional.
yeah, this is his 3rd year now. When Ed first came down with it, they didn't know what it was. They didn't know how to treat it. They didn't know anything. But my sweetie's doing fine. His voice, he's got to work on it some more. But
When you feel like you're being attacked and you're laying on a table and they take a tube and stick it down your throat, what else do? You pull it out.
so he did a lot of damage to his lungs, pulling it out several times.
The doctor, when I woke up, this guy was standing at the end of the bed, and he said, "Oh, you're awake?" Yeah. He said, "I had to be here when you woke up." I said, "Hello?" He said, "I had to be here." I said, "Why do you keep saying that?" He said, "I never saw anybody fight like that." I said, "Fight like what?" He said, "I was trying to run the tube down your throat so you could breathe, and you pulled the tube out. I went to put it back in, and you put me down on the table. I called for help, and the orderly came in, and you got him off. They wound up handcuffing me."
They did, poor thing.
They had me
That
handcuffed.
brought tears to my eyes. He might have my husband. He's unconscious, but still handcuffed, so that they could treat him well. And they called me like, do you really want to keep him? You know, I said, you better put that stuff back in his throat and let him live. But listen, thank you so much for joining us. Tune in for the Tropical Beat late at night when I bring it in, and please tune in for more, what?
Tropical Beat.
No, Conversations with Ed.
And Conversations with Ed. I had the music going, and we're going to have some fun with this. All
And
right?
we're going to have lots of guests. Tanya and Pharrell will be here, and Frank Abel will be here. Dr. Philip Duncan will be here. I'll come back, and we'll have more guests even. Thank you so much.